Kenyan independence is associated with a man called Jomo Kenyatta.
Jomo
Can you say
Kenyatta.
Jomo.
Jomo, yes.
Hmm?
Jomo Kenyatta.
Okay.
Can you take that L out, please?
It's a T.
Oh, thanks. Didn't know that.
Okay, so it is Jomo Kenyatta. He is the most closely associated with what we know of as Kenyan nationalism. And he was, as I told you about other African nationalist movements in the British colonies, one common thread is the role of the mission station and the mission, Christian mission education. He was similarly educated at a mission school, and then he went to study in Moscow and landed up at the London School of Economics, where he studied anthropology. Okay, so he got a master's, I think, in anthropology, and this is the basis for his book, which he wrote, called Facing Mount Kenya. You can try and get the book at some second-hand store here. So he writes a book, and the book is basically captures cultures and Facing Mount Kenya. Facing Mount Kenya. I think he studied under a famous anthropologist at LSE called Malinowski. And he painted a very sort of idyllic picture of the customs and traditions of his own grouping. I think he was also a Kikuyu. He was at the Congress, the Pan-African Congress, which was held in Manchester in 1945. Remember that 1945 Congress is very important in the history of African nationalism. It is there where the other leader we're going to talk about, Kwame Nkrumah, was at. It was the iconic moment where these Africanist nationalists all met together at that Congress in 45. Kenyatta, when he came back, Kenyatta actually was quite a moderate, like so many of these nationalists were. These moderate, they were not at first at all interested in taking up arms against the state. They saw the British as reasonable and that people you can talk to. They had been educated in that way. You know, if you look at the formation of the ANC leadership also, and the long approach through legal processes and protests and petitions and so on. It's a long process and a long tradition of this. And the early history is, the ANC in its origins is a liberal organization.
Yeah.
You know, for a long time. And I don't think the ANC was ever a Marxist organization. Now, of course, they classify all these as communists, and so the British in Kenya also don't want anything to do with Kenyatta. They are unwilling to talk to him. He's interested in talking to them. He's actually a moderate, and it simply strengthened the position of those who were for violence, and the Kikuyu militants in the Mau Mau movement. And until it became completely out of hand in the countryside and the city. Kenyatta took over the leadership of the Kenyan African National Union in 1947. He was thoroughly constitutionalist in his approach. that we want representative government, and we would be prepared for a process of change over time to give us the space to prepare for majority rule. He was arrested in 1952 because the British government thought he was a Mau Mau organizer. And in fact, this radicalized him. He was released only in 1961.